During a weekend spent with friends in the snow, I was asked this question by one of them who was reading the novel Unexpected Path. But are you really convinced that in the future, when we travel in space and have colonized other planets, we will arrive at a form of capillary and pervasive control by the governments as you described in the story? At that point, I limited myself to listing some of the factors that can contribute to the occurrence of a similar situation. Even if I assume that in the near future, problems such as the absence of gravity, the limited availability of space in which one can move and interact autonomously with travel companions will be overcome, the first factor of vital importance is the environmental one. Unable to fully replicate the conditions of terrestrial habitability, space travelers will have to adopt very strict safety measures, since even the slightest error would constitute an existential danger for the entire hosting structure, whether it is a ship, an orbital station, or an extraterrestrial settlement. In this regard, we must not forget that there is no air in outer space, that our body is subjected to unsustainable temperature changes, that radiation passes through it, altering its biological structure, while micrometeorites can pierce it like bullets fired at extreme speed. In short, outside the envelope that protects us, there is only certain death. Therefore, with these assumptions, it is clear that the freedom of individual actions will be limited by very stringent rules aimed at protecting the overall safety of the structure, and the resulting responsibilities will lead to the adoption of much more burdensome and coercive measures than those that can normally be adopted in the terrestrial context. Secondly, in an environment where air, water, and temperature are irreplaceable resources for survival, there will be rules that will condition physical appearance and personal clothing. If anyone has happened to observe the astronauts of the Earth orbiting station, they will have noticed the lion's crest that the long hair of women takes on. This phenomenon is mainly due to microgravity, which, as we said previously, should be resolved with the technical evolution of cosmic travel. But the fact that a set of biological particles, such as hair, fur, exfoliated cells, sweat, mucus, or saliva are constantly released by our body into the surrounding environment with the risk of clogging and compromising the air filtering and recycling systems, can be a serious problem. Firstly, for the continuous need for maintenance, and secondly, for a hypothetical health risk due to the possibility that viruses or bacteria could proliferate on those biological agglomerates that would form on the filtering surfaces. From here also arises the need for their constant sanitization. So, to limit the dispersion of the aforementioned elements within the narrow extraterrestrial environments as much as possible, it may be necessary to keep the skin surface hairless and have very short hair, or alternatively wear caps and tight-fitting suits in breathable mesh to retain hair, sweat and exfoliated cells. Clothing that, together with personal hygiene, would require daily sanitization and cleaning, under penalty of the flowering of mold and microorganisms of uncertain nature. The aforementioned premises alone are enough to understand that in that kind of future, anarchy, understood as an expression of extreme freedom, is synonymous with death. At this point, all that is left is aquacracy. This is a neologism that I formulated to describe a government structure in which all living beings, within a constituted community, are invested with equal rights and equal responsibilities, so as to avoid the temporal consolidation of the command summits which, in turn, will be subject to the behavioral rules dictated by physics and natural conditions. Laws, the latter, predominant over personal opinions and positions. Unfortunately, as Orwell teaches, the danger of forming nucleus of subjects more equitable than others is always around the corner. Nature, on Earth and outside of it, imposes its own rules, and there is no utopia or elective aspiration that holds. Either you behave according to its rules or you succumb. And as much as technological progress and social well-being may lead people to believe they can prevail over them one day, We must not forget that the matter we are made of will remain eternally subject to the laws of physics that have always forced us to choose between Plato's cave and Icarus flight.